Be'ez Hashem Parshas Tetzaveh Tavshin Pei Daled. Previous week we have mentioned, we learned a vort of Rabbi Sochadoi from Belz. And the Gemara in the end of Soita says that after Churban Beis Hamikdash we're missing Baalei Emunah, Baalei Amona. What does it mean, missing Baalei Emunah? That it's people that are worried about tomorrow's day. So Rabbi Sochadoi from Belz said that the problem is not that they're worried about tomorrow, it's just a sign that they're not worried about today. And they think that today is a given, that they have everything that they need, and that's missing in Bitochen. Because if you have Bitochen, it means that you have the understanding, the basic knowledge, you understand that you need to come on to the Rebbeinu Shalom constantly. And what would it do to the person? It generates the feeling that I'm not up to tomorrow yet. I have to daven for today's siyata d'shmaya, for today's success.
What's the kavanah in Ma'ariv? I was thinking after last week's year. Ma'ariv is still for today?
When a person davens chonon ados for tonight, yeah? Erev comes in and we ask for siyata d'shmaya, but we might get to it, have a better understanding. Krishma Shalamita is a very mamish when a person goes to sleep, but then they're actually asking, we actually see this concept in the brachas. So there's a word of the Bobov Rebbe, Shlomo Bobov, he said when he used to repeat this word of Rabbi Sochadov from Belz, he says, I have seen throughout the years that many times I had a spoon close to my mouth and I lost it and I fell down. He didn't only mean food. He meant the concept that I was a hair away from having something and it fell away. So I have learned with the experience that this is how it is. If a person is about B'tochen, they understand they need to come on to the Rebbeinu Shalom right now, and they're not only worried about something that's in the future. So by the Shir we elaborated that a person is supposed to try to remember to daven for the siyata d'shmaya of their trip. They're going to a different city to work, and every day that his job should be matzliach, and if you're worried about a child, think about today. So on and so forth. Now, there are some people that they mixed up this concept with a different musig in Bitochen and Tefillah, which we all know, we learned in the past, we shouldn't be doing. Many tzaddikim made a big emphasis, they dogish, that a person should not give ideas and to the Rebbeinu Shalom how to help them. And you just daven to Hashem, and Hashem is going to do whatever is best for you, and whichever way it's good for you. And whichever mahalach how to help you. That means it's two parts. One is when a person is telling the Rebbeinu Shalom, I want specifically this job, or this shidduch, or this apartment, then they're forgetting that you don't know if it's good for you or not. That's one part of it, which we learned from the Sefer HaIkrim, that a person is always supposed to daven. After they daven whatever they daven for, they should say, V'hatoiv beinecha aseh. Muvchasha b'tfilah, he calls it. The best part of the davening, that a person is relying on Hashem, that you know what's best for me. I davened with my limited knowledge, but the Rebbeinu Shalom knows what's best for me, so if it's good for me that it shouldn't happen, then I'm asking the Rebbeinu Shalom it shouldn't happen. That's one part. And there's the other part, that they're not giving the Rebbeinu Shalom ideas how to make it happen. Please let me win the lottery. Please let this deal go through. When a person's in a deal, they're hoping that should be with siyata d'shmaya, but they want parnosa. There's a person that he explained it to me that way. He said he needed a deed. He didn't know if he should ask Hashem for 5 rooms, or for 6 rooms, or for 4 rooms, or for this floor, or that. Then is, something? I decided I'm going to daven for Yeshiva Das. What's the difference? That means, what's the core? I'm not. Why do I want all that? I want to be able to have peace of mind. So I'm davening to the Rebbeinu Shalom that in this apartment it's very hard for me to have peace of mind. If Hashem could give me an apartment which is going to give me Yishuv Hadas. How it's going to give me Yishuv Hadas, the way to figure out how it's going to give me Yishuv Hadas. So it's giving ideas how things should happen, and it's about if it should bichlal happen. Is because he's constantly remembering that he's a nivro. He doesn't have the whole picture, and the Rebbeinu Shem knows everything and could do everything. So that's the humble person davens like that. So some people. That's the Archam HaKodesh mentions in the beginning of Parshas Vayeschanan that a person is supposed to be very clear and daven miduyak, because if they don't, the person that asked about he wanted a donkey but he didn't verbalize it properly when he davened that he should be riding on the donkey, and then the goy made him carry a donkey on him. So that's about being clear, but let's get to that soon. So some people asked, I don't understand. You mentioned by the shir that a person is supposed to say that this child should have a good day, and this child should have friends, and the teacher should be nice to the child today. You went into very, very nitty-gritty details. And then if a person, before they eat, it says in Zohar that the food should be healthy and it should be digested properly, and that it should give me Yishuv Hadas. And so some people felt that it's going into giving instructions to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And they said, "What? I daven. The Rebbeinu Shalom should bring shefa to the world, and whatever the Rebbeinu Shalom understands is good for me should be good." And by getting into details about each and every detail of my life should work out like this and work out like that. I should have a ride to shul and it should be a car, more like 2024. Stop it already. I should daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom to have siyata d'shmaya. So some people asked with a different nusach. You said you should daven for today, and only for today. Tomorrow we'll daven for tomorrow. But what do you mean? A person's supposed to daven now that his children should be matzliach and have a good shidduch. That's what it says in tzaddikim, even if the child is 3 years old. And people are supposed to daven for the geula.
So he couldn't. So.
Yeah, if a person is davening for a choila after the person is already not well, in a certain sense, it's already harder. It's a very good gemara. You should always daven before the sickness. Oh, so that means I'm thinking about the future, and I'm worried a shtickle about the future, and I'm davening. It shouldn't happen. So let's try to categorize a few types of tefillah, which are all needed, and a person should understand that Rebbeinu Shalom wants from him all types. And a person usually, even if a person doesn't daven about every single detail in their life every single day, because it's impossible, but a person understands that the Rebbeinu Shalom wants that they should invest bitochen and davening in the different categories of tefillah. So there's one category of tefillah which we daven for the hanhogas ha'olam. Let's explain that. A person gets up in the morning and they daven about the Eibusha should bring bracha, that the tvua should, the crop should grow properly. We say Baruch Hu Hashanah v'skol minei tvuos alatoiva v'sein talam motel avroch al pnei ha'adomo v'sabeinu mituva. It's a good example. That means every day the Rebbeinu Shalom brings shefa to the world, and we daven that it should be matzliach. It should bring the shefa, the abundance that it's supposed to bring to the world. Now, it doesn't say in the siddur a little star on the bottom in case you don't have tvua. So daven for high tech. It doesn't say that. It says the world needs to go on, and every yid davens that there should be atzlocha. This concept is very, very important. The person should have that. This concept is mamish what the Rashi explains in Parshas Bereishis, that there's a world out there, and they for sure wants that there should be shefa. That's why the Eibusha created. There should be fruit. There should be people should be able to eat bread. That's what the Eibusha wants. But the Rebbeinu Shalom wants that it should come through tefillah from Bnei Adam, from Yisrusa de Lasat. So everything is waiting, and a person is aware. He's aware. He gets up in the morning, and he davens Shemona Esrei, and he asks the Rebbeinu Shalom that Shefa should come to the world. The same is with refuah, that a person is davening refueinu. Now the person doesn't right now have a challenge, let's say. It doesn't say the person shouldn't say refueinu. By benching it says like ovi mori ishti, like if you don't have. Here it doesn't say. Here it says you daven for health. You bring refuah down to the world, and that's it. Once again, the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to bring shefa, but the Rebbeinu wants it to come from our side. We should be the ones triggering it. We should be bringing it. So that's what we do. And the system of Shemona Esrei is kavua. Is there the exact words Anshe Knesset HaGedolah prepared for us, that this is what you should say every day. And that brings be'emes abundance to the world. That's one yesod of tefillah. Second yesod of tefillah is that a person, when they think about themselves, not about the world and overall, areas in their life where they are successful and overall, Baruch Hashem, it's not their nisayon right now. A person has to daven for it. Why does a person have to daven for it? Mainly because a person must remember that it's not a given. That a person is like adding oxygen and making sure, putting battery life into the areas of their life by remembering it's constantly being yoinik from the Rebbeinu Shalom that Hashem is giving me the shefa, and they're asking about refueinu not only for the world, they're saying it the lashon kloli, where a person is asking he should be healthy and should have parnosa. Even if he has parnosa, he davens for his own parnosa. And it's very, very important. And sometimes a person says it beloshen tefillah, and sometimes beloshen thanking, which also does the job. In the Noam Elimelech, the Bnei Soscha explains it a lot. But the Noam Elimelech also mentions it. That is a yichud, this is something that a person does to the Olam, is to bring shefa, which is through tefillah and through tehillah. And tehillah is a bigger madrega. To our understanding, it's time to bring it down to our level. It's so simple. Because if the tachlis, to ask for something that you already have, is to really be'emes remind yourself that it's coming from the Rebbeinu Shalom and you need to come on every second. So when a person is thanking, you're getting to the same place, and even better because you're paying up chovis. So when a person gets up in the morning and they say to themselves, I'm going to be working for the next 2 weeks, that by Pakeach Ivrim, I'm going to get excited. I'm going to stop there. That's my Kabbalah for the next weeks. How many seconds is it? This bracha, not all the birchas hashachar. Pakeach Ivrim. Baruch Hashem, I said sumas choshev kemes. Even if a person would only be struggling that they have some eyesight, but it's like 50%, it would totally ruin their day-to-day pleasure of life. That's this part of tefillah. Remembering the areas in life that's being matzliach, and being mamshech shefa to those places by remembering that it's coming from the Rebbeinu Shalom and that we have to come on every second. Rebbe Suchadov from Belz, the word that we mentioned, that if you're worried about tomorrow and you're not worried about today, touches this area very much. That a person feels that they have, what they have, they're asking the Rebbeinu Shalom for more. But they're forgetting that it's not a given, that you need Siyata D'Shmaya for today's day. So you didn't think about all the details, so it's not in the form of thanking. It's a bakosha, but it's the understanding of that onkom to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and they daven to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Imagine a person davens that they should be able to see today. It wouldn't dawn on anybody. They're asking the Rebbeinu Shalom, they shouldn't be nishtal to not to see what they don't want to see. But daven the Rebbeinu Shalom, my eyes should be working today. Some people daven. That means once it starts becoming a challenge, another day, many healthy people that we see walking around, but they're, Baruch Hashem, they got older, and the doctor told them that this cataract, how do they call it? Yeah. Cataract. And a hin and a hair. And then sometimes the doctor says there's one muscle. I have to give you a shot every few weeks. Baruch Hashem. But from now on, you need a shot every few weeks to keep it. It shouldn't deteriorate.
Many of us need glasses. Without my glasses, I couldn't.
Without glasses. Person glasses breaks when they stam. Wie sagt man, a technical thing. It's such a challenge. A person doesn't do anything to daven for such things. Oh, so this goes into the part of tefillah, which is not right now the Hanhogas, it's your personal life, but you're davening not for the areas of chisoron. You're davening now for areas that you're not experiencing now a tzorah or something that you're missing. That's where people are very, very stark missing this part of davening. They're not losing it from crying. But the Bem is davening. They should continue to have the Shema. Now, when a person doesn't daven for such details in their life, so what happens is they could have a choices yata the Shema. And it could come out in many different ways that a person has to continue. Give chizik, sometimes you could see it with a child. That the child that's misbehaving, you spoke to and worked, and the other child you neglected because they're doing well. And because you neglected, you didn't give them a smile, and you didn't give them a good word, and you didn't acknowledge and appreciate it, it ends up causing a very, very big problem.
It's a change in echos also. Most people in the world don't daven. Most people in the world have the daily things that they need. But the echos, when you daven...
So, this is one of the questions that always come up. So many people, they don't have bitochen and they don't daven, and look, they have what they need. So, it could go into the Rosh V'Toiv Lo and Tzadik V'Ra'aloi situation, but even before that, first of all, the goal is not so a person should be able to see until 150. The goal is a person should have bitochen, first of all. That's the goal. So you're saying that person saw even though he didn't daven. Okay? So that's Ktana Yamona. So there are people like that, most. But we're trying to get the person to be from the people that are Bala Yamuna. But of course, there is also that in the Yesis Yad Dishmaya, and also the Yonik from a good place instead of getting it from the Sitra Achra. And there's a lot of different, very big differences. A person that was watering every day and a person that wasn't.
That means a person has to daven. If you can start davening for every small detail, you know you're going to finish.
Yeah, so we mentioned, so if a person starts davening every detail, every single day, so what's the gvul? So there's a simple answer to that question, that a person has to work with a Seder and remember, like Pekei Chivim for a tkufa of time. Pekei Chivim we say every day, but the concept is, first of all, that you should reach areas that you never touched, Aleph, and second, that once a person was mashkia in a certain area, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it was, what happens is that in different times, even it just goes through their mind in less than a second, but they know what we're talking about. They learned it. They're aware of this Indian that they need, and they constantly take, it's like shifts. They remember this part more, that part more. But Pshat is they're giving zachar. When a person has a garden, and there's many trees, and so the way it works is that every 2 weeks, this time you work with this tree, and then the grass, and then you do some shiputzim. But if you neglect it, then there's nothing left. Now, let's talk about third part of davening, which is when a person has chisoron. A person is missing something. Oh, now the davening, because something's happening, and it's a tzora, and they want to ask the Rebbeinu Shalom, please help. So this is the Raisa. When you go to this part of Tefillah, here comes the Raisa, you turn to the Rebbeinu Shalom, please help me. That's a very, very big Yesoid and Tefillah, but this is already a different part. Let's explain. Shemona Esrei as a whole wasn't created for Beis Tzara. It was a system. We all need everything every day, but we know we need to come on to it every day. Then the Gemara says, and it's Gepaskin and Halacha, that let's say a person knows that they need something in the tchum, in the area of refuah, so add. In refuahenu, put an addition. What does that mean? That means that the main refuahenu was Aleph Farnagas Ha'olam, base for your health and overall. But let's say you're going through Eitz Sora, you should add another line. And the Gemara says, but every bracha like that. Every bracha. And the Arizal told the Al-Shach HaKadosh that if you have a child that needs to do tshuva, so by Hashivenu, there's a special line that you should say, Shatachta Chatirim Medachas Kisei HaKavod, for this and this neshama, please, that this neshama should do tshuva. Put it into Hashivenu. When let's say you don't have a child, so then you don't have to say that line. What does that mean? That means that we daven for it always, every single day, 3 times a day. But let's say a person is also Be'ez Tzor in this tchum, so they should make sure to add a chelik of tefillah, referring to the chelik achisoren that they have.
Having in mind, let's say the fein, or to someone not well to have my fein or shamir, that's the word, that's
yeah. So that's an overall question. Why does the Gemara say that a person has to add? If I said Hashivenu Avinu into Osecha, I already included. Yeah, but it's Loshen Rabim. Hashiveni, it's Loshen Rabim. So this brings us to another part of this shir, which we want to get to in just in a few minutes. To this part of the shir, why do I have to specify? But now, the first part of the shir, we're talking about the categories of tefillah. Not how to daven, just for what we daven. Then we have to get to each part, how do we daven it? So we really got into it because we were saying, Shmoneh, this is how you do it. So that's where this question came up. Now, in the sugya of chisoren, the person should know that it's not only, you don't only daven for when something is missing, when you're missing it. When the world is missing it, we also daven. And the chmeh, when you know that the Shechina has a tsar, that this and this area is not missing, so Hashem is in pain, that this Yid is in pain, that a lot of Yid are in pain. So a person is mechuyev to daven for a tsar from the Shechina. Kumt ois, that if you think into it, that azoivi, when you're talking about shleimus, when you're talking about situations that there's not chisoren right now, there's a type of tefillah which you're davening for the overall, because Hashem wants it to be full of abundance, and then you daven for your own areas, even though you Baruch Hashem have it, but you daven for it. Also by chisoren, there's these two arutzim, there's 2 lanes. You're davening for chisoren not only when you're feeling it, you're davening for chisoren because the Shechina. But if you are feeling it, so you should daven by your personal pain. The tzaddikim speak a lot about this forum, that even if a person has a personal pain, they should really have in zinnen that it's the Shechina that's right now in pain, so I'm davening. But, I saw in a sefer, it's maybe could die with tomorrow Mokam, that not always a person is in this darga. That a person could say that I'm davening only for the Shechina because they feel that I'm in pain. I don't know about the Rebbeinu Shalom, but I'm davening for myself. I'm being honest. So it says that a person should daven for their own, rather than saying things that you're not in that madrega. You should rather say clearly, I'm in pain, and ich bete der Rebbeinu Shalom soll mir helfen. Yeah, here it is. Which sefer is this? The command and Hechel HaBrocha Seif Parshas Ba'aloischa. Shamati mimori, that even though every person is supposed to daven for the Shechina's tsar, but not everybody is in that madrega, not every day. Sometimes a person is so depressed that they don't right now feel the tsar from the Shechina. They're very, very tzebrochen. And the Rebbeinu Shem listens to every tefillah. But you should know, if you're not in the matzav of davening with tsar from the Shechina, and you're going to say, I don't mean myself. It's like, I'm asking for a friend. That kind of matzav, then it's worse, because the Eibishter knows that you're not honest. And it's a sakona that the Eibishter is not going to take your tefillah because you're playing a game. How can you spalak pshutoi, your madrega that you are, and he should say, I have pain. And he should say, and it says there, he should say, that even though my tzar is big, I know that theoretically the Eibishter has tzar. But you should be very honest about your matzah. It's important to stress. Yeah. Mention it. You should mention it. So this is categories of tefillah. Now, when a person davens, now let's say Shemona Esrei. So we mentioned, you're davening for the Geula. In many of the brachas, T'kabash Avagodel Chayroseinu, Yishlar Milcha B'Rachman Toshuv, V'lamashinu Malti Sikva, you're davening for the Geula. This is the Chisoron HaKloli. It's Chisoron type. This part of Shemona Esrei is Chisoron. And you davened for the Tzar from the Shechina, for the world, for the Yidden. You're not talking about your specific pain. Different brachas of Shemona Esrei, you're not davening now for something that's specific now Chisoron. Many times you're davening, of course there are people missing das, but you're not now coming from such a place that there's a disaster going on. I don't know if you know, but people don't have any seichel. That's not the mahalach. It's it's a good bracha which brings out, we're not talking about chisoron bedafka. We're trying to continue the das that the Eibush wanted, and the same thing is the Baruch Oleinu. Hashivenu and Slachlanu, you could debate it doesn't make a difference. You don't have to put everything in that category, because it's very simple why we daven it. But it's just to see and understand that a person is supposed to have both mahalchim every day. And like we mentioned, a person has a Istzara, he adds on Shemona Esrei. If it's in that bracha, or it's in Shemaya Tefillah, or it's after the kind of tzor, it's Kapitlich Tehillim, and talks about his Chisoron, talks about the Tzar from the Shechina. Now, if you're going to ask a question, why do we daven for the Geula? We have to speak about specifics. The answer is that it's a Chisoron that's today. It's a Chisoron that's Kloli. That's that type of tefillah. Besser gesagt. Let's explain the drop better. When we talk about the concept that you should daven for today and not for tomorrow, and after we see categories of tefillah, we say you should daven for today and not for tomorrow. You know what it really means? It means that you should remember to daven for shleimus of yourself and not only for the chisoron of yourself. That's really the category of that word. Why are you only talking about... No. There's the two, we said there's two types. Davening for something that you have, because you remember that you have to come on to say Hadashma every minute. And davening for something that you don't have, you ask Hashem for it. There's klali and proti in each of them. But those are the two malach. What the Belzer is saying is, it's not about today and tomorrow. It's not the point. The point is that if you're davening only when you remind yourself emotionally, hey, what's going to be with that? What's going to be with that? What's happening right now is that you're forgetting the whole area of tefillah, that you need to have siyata d'shmaya, not to forget your hat and shul, and then the cleaning man took and everything that's going on. So I should have siyata d'shmaya today. That's the concept of davening for today. When we spoke about going into details, that means I should be matzliach A, B, C, the phone call should be matzliach, all that. The concept is not that you're telling the Rebbeinu Shalom exactly what you want and how the Rebbeinu Shalom should do it. No. The concept is you're reminding yourself how in every step of the game you're needing Siyata D'Shmaya. That's the Ganze. Of course the person remembers that a person has reminded themselves. This should be Siyata D'Shmaya. Then you can say Toiv Nechasei on the whole long shopping list of 100 details that they said. The point wasn't to be Koveya or how it should happen. It was only to chap. Hey, you chap how many things have to go right?
Because the Meister person has to make his decisions in the day. He's going to do specific things, and you have to ask him for his book.
Yeah. It chaps. How did... We always have to remember these stories. A person that made a Sheva Brachas. I was just talking to a friend. And they spent $100,000 for Shabbos Sheva Brachas. Taking out the extended family to fancy hotel. And people spend a lot more. I mean, this was only $100K. Now, says Zayin, what was the idea? It should be, better Ramah and everything. Now, everything worked out. Besides that, the alarm system went off in the middle of Shabbos for hours and hours. That's it. Fartik. It was disaster. But you just have to remember that could happen. It doesn't mean now you have to down for the alarm system. It doesn't make a difference. It's the concept that you chap, that the alarm system could go off and the steam cannot work. Once you chap, you don't need to daven dafka for the alarm system. Yeah, you can't think 100%. You can't think. But this is to explain this nakuda. When you daven for details, it doesn't make a difference which details, and a little bit answers your question about if a person has to daven for every detail, then they're never going to finish for many reasons. Not only they're never going to finish because it's such a long list of there's only 24 hours in the day, but you didn't even start chapping how many details. The mind of a person doesn't understand what could go wrong. For sure not. Did anybody daven about COVID beforehand? It's not part of any list. Even if a person davens for 15 hours. So it was like, what's the pshat? The pshat is it doesn't make a difference which detail you chapped. Once you're starting to chap how many details you need to add the Shmaya, and you're starting to shiva, oh, that's very good. Okay, I'm going to go to the next guy now. It's only about getting you to chap that you're not in control. So, like, what's your plan? With being so Masuda, people are so organized ahead of time. So this is very, very important. So that was the idea of the Vort of from Bells and the explanation of it. The concept was to remember to go through your day and chap how many details you have, and that's how you're going to be davening also on the areas of life which you think is going and so forth. This is a very, very important yesod. And then a person davens also on the Chedek HaChisor, and also on the Chedek HaGeula, which is for Klal Yisrael's Chisor. There's a different areas of tefillah.
It's not really the same thing, because if someone's davening, it's in the body of a person, have a head, eyes, fingers, and whatever, so it would make sense to say daven that your fingers should work correct, daven that your eyes should work. But to daven that something that might happen, shouldn't happen, that taka is taka...
Yeah, but in your eyes, you're not mentioning...
My eyes should work good.
But why only your eyes? What?
Each thing. Every day take another
Yeah.
day,
Oh, but every day a different one, because what's the pshat? Because you don't know how eyes work. But then after a shir of 5 hours, he's going to explain to you all the eyes, then you're going to think it's stupid to say my eyes should work. Which part? Oh, so the other guy is going to say, Hashem also knows my whole body. Hashem about the eyes. So what's the answer? The answer is that the person can't go into all the details, but you should. So all these things are reminders that ich darf am Siyata D'Shmaya. Yeah, it's a very good dugma Asher Yotza. And on the one end in Asher Yotza, we go a bit into detail. And that's why we say another Baruch in the end, because it's called a Brocha Arucha, because you stopped and it said 1 second, Gol of Yidul Lefanecha, and you go into the Koven Chalulim Chalulim. So you're going into detail, but you're not going into very much detail, even simple, because there's so many different parts. That is Gol of Yidul Lefanecha. It's both. It's the goal of you it's a reminder. Look what's happening. No, because the person doesn't go into detail. Yeah. But tefillah and Eidah both are two parts of a mahalach of reminding ourselves. It's tefillah and tehillah. They're both parts of getting into our minds. Now, so this is about how to say it. Now, when a person goes into detail and say, I'm going to meet a person now, if you're talking about a fundraiser, the guy should open the door, I should be noisechein, he should, you chap all the deals that have to happen, but then you say, say. When a person is at work and he wants to talk to his balabos, it's also, he reminds himself what he wants and he davens for it, and then he says, so how to express the tzura from the tefillah, that doesn't change, that a person should go into detail what he needs Yad D'Shmaya. He could also ask for a certain mahalach that looks that that's the right mahalach, and then add the Vatoy B'nei Chasei. In the details, he works with the same mahalach. And he must go into details because he has the chap. Yeah, we saw the big riot, it is the Gemara in Masechtes Bab Metzia, that a person told his worker, his poil, to plant chitim, and then the poil did sa'orim, and then the Rashi says he has a tain on him. He says, but I daven for chitim, and you did sa'orim, so it's your fault because you made my tefillas be on the wrong zach. So he could have a tain on him. So the Meforshim ask, what's the difference? You ask for tvua. What's the difference? The answer is no. Because a person has to use this mahalach of going into detail to understand how it was to work, and there should be matzliach. Afterwards they say, but they had a chiyuv b'shas, they davened to express where they need siyata d'shmaya for themselves, to be able to remember all the details. So that's why if I daven for chitim, and you did something else, and I didn't daven for that, and I didn't bring siyata d'shmaya for that, maybe that's why there was no crop, or it wasn't successful. Now, Bo'ofen kloli, after a person chaps all that, there's a big yisoid. The yisoid is that when a person is in the beginning stages of davening, or any area in Avodas Hashem, so many times they categorize Zachen with a name. Okay, this is Chisorn, this is Shleimus. This is people that are beginners on Kabbalah is also like that. Everything is like Bina Malchus. They're busy. Now, the concept is that after a person does it again and again and again, what ends up happening is that it becomes natural. Once a person gets the feel of it, then what's supposed to happen to the person is that they don't need the names anymore. They just, they have it. They have the right feel. You could see in any area that a person that is in the learning stages, let's say he learned about CBT. So now they're looking who's going to be the cheftze. That means everything that they see is they have the number, they have the agdara, this is 8-2, this is 6-4. They look at it like that. But if a person is 40 years in the field, they don't need the names. They talk to the guy and they feel the situation. Why? Because it's so, they have the inside of it. It's not only the category. So when you explain a sugi of tefillah, so you say, there's this type, there's that type. But when you get used to that I have to daven for today and I have to daven for tomorrow, so what's supposed to happen to the person is that it's Shem Shemayim Shogel Alpiv, like Rabbi Yochanan says, Lovai Shespal Adam Kolayim Kulay, and they remember. They stop before they do a pull and say, you know something, to work out. And it starts becoming part of their way of doing Zachen. You get to see the way they speak. This is something that's very, very important that should happen with time. And then a person doesn't have these shilas, because they're used to it. They feel the tzar, they daven for geula, they feel that they need siyata d'shmaya. And they know they have to be well-rounded in all areas, putting in the Rebbeinu Shalom in every area of their life. Okay.
Like when you learn to drive, it's